Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Hartford Whalers expansion franchise here on NHL 24. We're still rocking on NHL 24, and Sami Maki, they're still rocking bodies as he lays out the Columbus Blue Jacket. I think that was Patrick Laine trying to take it into the zone as we are trailing here 3-2 in the third period. I think we're 12-10 entering this game, 2 points behind Columbus for the 5th spot in the Metro, which, as we've stressed over recent episodes, is just super tough to try and breathe here as we are stacked with good teams throughout the division, but need to finish business here at home from the XL Center as Mark Scheifele turns that one over in the offensive zone. Patrick Laine kicks it up the boards to Zadina, back for Maki, up in front for Scheifele as Merzlikins able to cover that one up. Scheifele not the best chance that time off the one-timer, or it was a good chance, not the best delivery, as we are going to have the offensive zone face-off, and we see the leader in points here for Columbus. Three-way tie with Kirill Marchenko, Johnny Gaudreau, and also Zach Werenski, I think it said, as now Jack Roslovic, former Blue Jacket, tied up there on the face-off circle as Jiricek will take it back the other way. I think that's David Jiricek, one of those pronunciations. And Maki loses the handle behind the net, turned it over, Marchenko in front for Boone Jenner, and that is out of harm's way as Landeskog feeds up for Mangiapane, back over for Landeskog. Gabriel Landeskog in front for Jack Roslovic off the one-timer, and we are tied up here early in the third quarter from Hartford as Jack Roslovic, his second goal of the game. Tremendous feed there by Landeskog and tremendous resiliency to work that into the zone, keep possession there, splits the defense, and serves that up right on the stick of Jack Roslovic, who finds the back of the net for the second time against his former goaltender, as we're all squared here 3-3 apiece. And with that, the Columbus Blue Jackets do call the timeout, and it's worth noting that we have Scott Ratzlaff in net in this one, our third-string goalie, as Landeskog back tied on top of our points leaderboard there with Mark Scheifele as our second line still out there. We did shuffle the lines a little bit as we have put Landeskog down to the second line, just working things around a little bit as he intercepts that one, dumps into the zone as Roslovic giving chase, working against Jared McIsaac, his first season after coming over in free agency there for Lyubushkin. And now Donovan Dublowitz over for Marchenko towards the net, poked away by Montour, still fighting for it as Sami Maki will pick that up, turns it over there into the neutral zone as McIsaac spins away from a man. Now Boone Jenner going to be mugged there by Sami Maki, really asserting himself down the stretch of this game. Mangiapane there in the neutral zone, 12 goals, leading our team so far in the early going. And now Maki towards the net, a shot there, gloved away, rebound, and now Marchenko takes it the other way. Donovan Dublowitz, the third overall pick back in the 2023 NHL draft. I think that was one pick before Leo Carlsson. That was our inaugural NHL entry draft, going back to episode 2. Now here to episode 61 in the slot there, nothing doing as that goes out of the zone. Philip Zadina giving chase as he does retrieve. Zadina now over for Montour. Montour tried the backhand, and Kent Johnson intercepted at the blue line, and Johnny Gaudreau a shot, gloved there by Scott Ratzlaff. I think his 7th or 8th game now, as he's been solid filling in his first NHL action as Yaroslav Askarov, I think, due back for our next game against Chicago, so we will probably tune into the third period of that game, and then we'll sim along another 10 games or so as we head to the midway point of this Year 5 season. Now Andrew Peeke, another former Blue Jacket on this team, towards the net in front, the centering pass there for the aforementioned Leo Carlsson, as Merzlikins an easy save that time with the glove off the weak shot, and another offensive zone draw here for our Hartford Whalers, as we have been a very good third period team this season. Going back to last episode, we opened against the Islanders, down 3-1 in the third, and we scored 3 unanswered. And now Scheifele there ties up a man on the faceoff, but Werenski works it back for Columbus. Into the zone now for Patrick Laine, as that one loose puck picked up by Zadina. As there's like 4 Blue Jackets there swarming one Hartford Whalers, he will eventually turn that over. And now Johnny Gaudreau leading the charge. Now Patrick Laine in on the rush. And now over for Kent Johnson. Tried the lead pass there in front for Gaudreau. Picked off by Oven Provorov, another former Blue Jacket, as Brock Besser towards the net. Now Denisenko, a goal in this game. A good rip there off the loose puck. And again, Merzlikins comes away with the save. Andrew Kopp now on the draw against Liam Foudy. Advantage Kopp. As it looked like he was taking out delayed penalty now, as we do have it at the point, but good defense there, poking it out of the zone, as that is going to stop the clock. And we are going to get a power play here. Columbus 1 for 1 on their penalty kill so far, as Igor Chinikov will head to the penalty box, and a very good chance here for the Whalers to score on the power play. We have gotten it going here in recent games, although it has been a complete struggle on the power play throughout this franchise. But we are on the come up, it seems. And now let's get one in the back of the net and seize the lead here. Andrew Kopp there against Noah Gregor. Gregor 4 goals in only 8 games so far. Talk about efficiency, mostly there on the 4th line too for Columbus. As Karlsson now back for Besser. Long pass across the ice here for Andrew Kopp. Andrew Kopp to the corner in front there for Besser. Couldn't get a clean shot off. As Fosil now with it. And he does get that up for Gregor. Good chance there for Hartford, but couldn't get a clean shot off. Now Columbus in the zone. Good hit there as we do get possession back now. A 3-on-1 for Columbus, or for Hartford rather. As we did have a guy peel back and now in front forehand for Besser off a good feed there by Kopp. As he was denied by Merzlikins. Now Tom Wilson, a shot there from the point, snagged by Merzlikins. Mangiapane out there, as I said, 12 goals leading the way for our Whalers so far. And he has been mostly on the 3rd line, so good for him. Brock Besser tried the centering pass there for Karlsson. Nobody home as Foudy is able to clear that. Now back along the boards there in the Hartford zone. As now less than 30 seconds left on the power play. Tom Wilson there was just mugged off the puck. And it looks like another delayed penalty. I don't know if they're going to call a cross-check on that. Pretty soft call as Hartford back the other way. Good feed in front to Brock Besser there from Mangiapane. And now still with it. Brock Besser, a backhand. And we had the delayed penalty. The extra attacker was out there. And Brock Besser going to put our team on top. A backhand chance right in front of the net. And he finds the back of it. That one on the power play. And I did say we have had many chances. And I'm not sure if we're still going to get a power play. I think, or maybe we're just going to have a couple seconds from that remainder. I don't know what's going to happen here with the delayed penalty. I'm not sure. I don't know if that original power play we were on expired. As it looks like we do have 5-on-4 right now. I'm just not sure how long it's going to be. As we do get the full 2-minute power play. So a power play goal trickles into a full power play now. As Yaroslav will clear that into the corner. 8 minutes now left of regulation. Our Whalers trying to get out here with the regulation win. We don't want to give them any points. Every single point matters in this Metro Division. Now Landeskog with it. Try to back pass there to the point. As that's intercepted now back the other way. Donovan Dublowitz leading the charge. In front for Gaudreau. Good save by Scott Ratzlaff. Read that one. Lyubushkin now for Columbus will dump that in. Still on the penalty kill, but they are here in the offensive zone. Now back to the point for Lyubushkin. Over to Yaroslav, and he couldn't get a clean reception of that pass. Now Hartford numbers the other way. Landeskog in front for Zadina. Couldn't get a clean one off. Now Landeskog a shot, and that's deflected along the boards. And that's going to be picked up by Lyubushkin. As now Dublowitz will take it out of harm's way into the offensive zone for Columbus. A pass there for Gaudreau. Back for Dublowitz. And a great save by Scott Ratzlaff. 3rd round pick from 2023. Like I said, his 8th or 9th game after being called up from the AHL. And another delayed penalty here. What is going on? My goodness. It's almost, I don't even want to cheer just because I feel like it's kind of being an exploit now at this point, as for the 3rd straight time, the Blue Jackets will go to the box. This time it's Ilya Lyubushkin, and our Hartford Whalers already up 4-3. Maybe add an insurance goal here in the final minutes with a face-off now to the right of Elvis Merzlikins. Andrew Kopp this time against Boone Jenner. Advantage Kopp. Back to the point for Wilson. A rip and a quick glove save. And we'll do it again. Just 7 seconds killed off that first draw. Now tied up there. Loose puck goes back to Columbus, and we will have some 4-on-4. Andrew Mangiapane, the ill-advised trip there. Kind of unnecessary, but at least it tips the scales a little bit. With 5:52 remaining, going to have a lot of 4-on-4 action now. Some more ice to work with, and hopefully our team can get the insurance goal. Now back to the other end of the ice. Leo Carlsson out there with Philip Zadina. Montour and Maki are defensemen. Orwinski off the draw, blocked in front by Sammy Maki. And now he will feed it up for Leo Carlsson. Over for Montour now. Hartford on a rush. Montour towards the net. Montour, a shot, save Merzlikins. 1:08 now remaining in offensive zone face-off now for the Whalers. Same players on the ice for both sides as Kent Johnson wins that back to Orwinski. Loses possession off a hit there by Zadina. And Merzlikins pokes it away, regains possession, and will freeze that one. Another face-off now. 4:44 left of action here in regulation. McIsaac off the face-off win as he gives that up for Patrick Laine. Now over for Donovan Dublowitz. And what a hit there by Montour, laying the body. Laine does end up with it, but whiffs on a shot as Hartford regains possession. 4 minutes now. Columbus 10 seconds of power play action as Hartford with it. Maki is shot there short side behind the net. Now try to get Philip Zadina in front. Whiffed on the one-timer attempt as that was deflected. And now Virgilio with it. His 4th game of NHL action, pick from 2014, or 2024 rather, going back a decade, as a great kick save there by Yaroslav. He's been phenomenal here down the stretch, trying to preserve this lead in the final few minutes. Marchenko now up. A good pass there for Dublowitz. Very tired though, been out there a long time now for Jesper Bachvist, and that was blocked by Maki into the corner. As Bachvist, I want to say, joins his brother on this team, Adam Bachvist, are also on the Blue Jackets, but injured for this game. As Werenski there for Line A. 100 seconds remaining, or less than that now, as Line A over the center ice there, and a man coming off the bench, Leo Carlsson, knocked the puck down on the dump-in attempt, and Hartford does benefit off that. Now less than a minute left as Mangiapane, good pass there, but that's going to be offside, and Carlsson just couldn't keep the brakes. Presumptuous pass there from Mangiapane does stop play, and now we'll get a draw here. Mark Scheifele against Donovan Dublowitz. Their young forward, a career high with 66 points last season. 22 years old now in his 4th season. And now Provorov will take it in towards the net. Provorov a shot. Blocker save there by Merzlikins. 40 shots on goal for the Whalers, and we've seen in mostly every game here, we've led the shot total by a convincing margin, as they do pull the goalie extra attacker on the ice for the Blue Jackets. Andrew Peak, one of the 4 or 5 former Blue Jackets we have on this team. Now it's center ice Carlsson for Zadina towards the net for the empty net, and he will land, as that's 11 for number 11 as he dives forward, fresh off a 4-year extension. Philip Zadina, one of the 4 remaining survivors from our initial expansion draft, as he's certainly exceeded expectations in this franchise. A rip there from the blue line, and that is going to do it here against the Columbus Blue Jackets as we preserve the home win. A tremendous look in here. We were down 3-1 early in the first period, and then 4 straight goals again as we make it a 5-3 advantage now, and we are going to leapfrog Columbus in the standings. And these head-to-head matchups in division play are just so huge, as we have played very well in division. I think only 1 loss maybe against Washington back in that first game, as they're now the bottom team in the NHL, ironically enough. And again, Columbus will pull the goaltender. Now in for Chinikov. Back to the point now in the slot for McIsaac. A save by Yaroslav. Foudy now. Loose puck. Chinikov in front for Foudy. A shot. And again, blocked away by Yaroslav. One last shot here for Columbus. And that will be knocked away, as Yaroslav was sprawling there on his side trying to stack the pads. And that is going to do it here as the Hartford Whalers win this one. A comeback effort again, which has been the recipe this season. Last title of our video was Resilience is the Recipe, and it certainly has been here. Set to get our starting goaltender back, and even within his absence, we've been playing phenomenal hockey. And let's see if we can keep it going, as we are set to simulate another 10 to 12 games or so, and we probably will tune into this next game against Chicago. Jack Rozovic, 2 goals, probably the first star, and a tremendous effort here by Scott Yaroslav as he gets, I think, his 3rd win on the season, but he's going to be sent down, unfortunately, after this 5-3 victory. And as we did before, we're going to jump into the 3rd period now against this game against the Chicago Blackhawks, leading 2-1, set here against Connor Bedard, one of the young phenoms in the game. Now his 4th season, and it's been good, just hasn't probably lived up to the expectations, but still very young, of course, time to grow, as Leo Carlsson from that same draft class selected a few picks later at 4th. Good job there on the fork check, although they do get it for Tarasenko. Now Bedard, as he is poked away by a fellow number 1 pick there, Sami Maki. He was picked number 1 in the ensuing draft, so the 2023 number 1 pick and the 2024 number 1 pick facing off in this one, trying to get something going offensively, as Leo Carlsson's pass was defended. Now into the corner, he does get it back in front. Leo Carlsson now gets Mark Scheifele. Scheifele into the corner, behind the net for Zadina, as that is poked away, picked up by Mackenzie Weegar, as he gets Seth Jones now. Feeds Tarasenko into the zone. Good defense there by Sami Maki there on the stick check. And pardon my cat right now playing in her little tunnel, so you probably hear a little bell or something, but just disregard. And now into the corner. I haven't let her get any commentary, so she's protesting now. And now behind that, Rozovic in front, backhand chance, and he scores. Jack Rozovic adds another one. 2 in the last game, make it now 3. And he actually spent 20 games with Chicago going back a couple seasons, helped them win the Stanley Cup, as he was acquired at the deadline, then became a free agent. We brought him in on a 1-year contract and signed him to a 2-year contract, so we do have him for 1 more season, The backhand gives us some insurance now, 3-1 early on in the third period. And I also think I said third quarter earlier, so I'm just in that Madden mindset right now with that Snowhawks franchise we have going on. So check that if you haven't yet, as spirits are high here in Hartford, and higher now as they do go to the power play. So it's going to be one of the young forwards on this team, Lukas Reichel, heading to the box for slashing. And now that's 4 penalties called on the CPU against us today, and we've only had 1 called on us, so something to monitor moving forward if we have to maybe mess with the penalty slider. But we have had good results in the past, so we will see how it goes from here on out. But now a 3-1 lead, and from the point, Leo Carlson a shot, as that was saved by Thatcher Demko, now the goaltender here in Chicago. Very poor play despite a 16-6 start for the Blackhawks, which does have them atop the Western Conference right now. And now Glass over for Sam Bennett. Bennett knocked off the puck there. Good hit by Leo Carlson, having a strong performance in this game, as Andrew Kopp there wins it in the neutral zone towards the net. And that's going to be picked up by Issa Lindell there on defense for Chicago, as he spent a year or 2 with our Whalers. And that is going to be offside, as Chicago trying to counter rush there, shorthanded. Just 5 minutes into this third period, and we have netted a goal, 3-1 lead, as Alex Wenberg and Dylan Dubé, the forwards now on this penalty kill. Dubé, someone we were thinking about pursuing in the offseason, but just a little out of our reach because we were working with a slim cap. And now Landeskog for Denis Gurianov, a forward we brought in on a 1-year deal, one of those budget signings we made. And we actually had the Senators send us a trade offer, a 3rd-round pick for Gurianov, as a save there. It's Daniil Tarasov back in net, as Askarov still not 100% healthy, so we're not going to force it. Should be able to go in the next game or 2, as we do have a back-to-back coming up, so maybe we'll just let him rest for that first game and then debut him back from injury in that second game, I think, against the Devils or the Sabres. And now Montour up for Scheifele, and that's going to be picked up by Mackenzie Weegar on the turnover, as he gets Seth Jones now for Lukas Reichel out of the box. We'll dump that in. Picked up by Gurianov behind the net for Montour. Montour leading the charge now, as he'll dump that off for Scheifele. Picked up by Mackenzie Weegar. Another takeaway there. I think that might be the 2nd or 3rd already of the period for Mackenzie Weegar. As now Jesper Fast, as that's poked away into the corner, picked up by Colton Dock. Now over for Mackenzie Weegar, back for Seth Jones, working it in, and then Landeskog snuffs that one out, takes it back the other way, and feeds over for Gurianov. Tried a good pass there, but intercepted by Fast, as he tried to get Zadina into the zone. A big hit along the boards there by Gurianov, really asserting himself on our 4th line, and Cody Glass right at the doorstep, as Daniil Tarasov turns him away. Tarasov, despite being our backup goalie the past season, has like our highest locker room chemistry, and he is viewed as a leader on our team, so very important to our foundation, our chemistry, our locker room, as Bedard in the slot that was blocked into the corner, as Andrew Peak out of the zone. Now Denisenko fighting for it in the neutral zone for Brock Besser, over for Andrew Kopp, a good feed. Kopp a shot, and that's going to be saved by Demko. The Whalers really taking it to the top team right now in the Western Conference, although they have a huge edge on the face-off circle. Another win there for Bedard. And now Lindell will give that for Brad Marchand, his 2nd season with the Blackhawks, as he's laid out there by Brock Besser. He's still fighting for it in the neutral zone, his Peak, as he does get that over for Kopp into the zone. Andrew Kopp a shot, and again gloved by Demko. Take another look at that hit, and that was Marchand being knocked down by Brock Besser. Marchand has been a huge piece of this Blackhawks team, brought in Stanley Cup experience back in Boston. His first season here, they won the Stanley Cup, and now trying to get back. Playing on that top line along fellow veteran Vladimir Tarasenko and the youngster Connor Bedard, the Calder Trophy winner from a few seasons ago. Now Issa Lindell knocked down a man, but we do get it back, and Gabriel Denisenko, short side on the backhand, had a slim angle there, and he just missed. Now still with it, back to the point for Provorov. In front as he tried to get Mangiapane, loses the handle, as Lindell will get that out of the zone for Bedard. Connor Bedard carving his way in, poked away by Andrew Peak. We've just stood up so well once they enter the zone. We've stood up there in that middle aspect of the ice in our own zone. Now Mangiapane. Provorov off the loose puck, trying to work that in as he does get it. Provorov towards the net now, starting to pass for Razovic, a shot, trying to get another one, as that's gloved again by Demko. Now our 2nd line out there against their 4th line, which features Mackenzie Entwistle. For those who have stuck around with this franchise series, an expansion pick from Chicago, and has since found his way back and out into the zone. As Entwistle with it, trying to score against his former team. And still fighting for it in front. Wow, good perseverance there from Entwistle. Another chance, but whiffed on that one. As still with it in the zone. Wenberg just shooting that one into traffic as we are able to get it out. Landeskog needs to get on the bench right now. Very tired, but works it in. Good pass for Provorov now to Roslovic. Back to the point for Montour, working it in as he is taken away. Now Cooperman with it. Into the zone now is Jean-Luc Foudy. Knocked off the puck. Mangiapane back for Montour. As now Guryanov with it. We'll give it to Provorov. Over for Mangiapane. He also needs a line change here, as he will dump it in, probably going over to the bench. Cooperman up for Dubé. Poked away. Good. Our defense has been holding up so well. As now Guryanov into the zone. Guryanov a charge for Sillinger, who does have a goal in this game. Sillinger working on our fourth line. As that's intercepted in the neutral zone by Tom Wilson. Now Guryanov from the corner in front for Tom Wilson. A rip. Great feed there, as that's knocked away by Thatcher Demko. Now 2:01 remaining, as they do get another face-off win, that time Sam Bennett. As it's now Dubé up the boards. Dylan Dubé working it in, and does get past Sami Maki into the corner, back behind the net for Reichel. And now Seth Jones' shot, and I think that was deflected in front, but Tarasov able to knock it away with the glove, I believe. As now Sami Maki will take it out of the zone. Less than a minute remaining here in regulation. Mackenzie Weegar does stop that entry. As now Jesper Fost into the zone, as that is knocked into the corner by Montour. They pull the goalie, so extra attacker on the ice for Chicago. Weegar, a shot, and that is saved by Tarasov. 3-1 Hartford, 43 seconds remain. Bedard a rip, and again going to be gloved by Tarasov through the traffic, as he has cat-like vision, cat-like reflexes that time. Saw that one all the way, snared it, as that does put the clock down a few more seconds, now 38 seconds. As Andrew Kopp against Glass on the draw. Kopp that time does get it, as we do take it back the other way. Denisenko towards the empty net, still with it. Grigory Denisenko on the empty net, and he does score, goes right to his knees. His third goal of the season. Did he score last game, I think, too? I could be mistaken on that, so maybe back-to-back games with goals for Denisenko and Roslovic, as that is going to make it 4-1 now Hartford. What a pair of games we've had to start this episode, as this is going to propel us now 14-10, as we are having maybe our best start so far to a season. Our only playoff season so far, going back to year 2. I got to go back and see how we started that campaign, but Sami Maki and Montour on the assist, as Brock Besser wants some more. Besser behind the net, as that's now picked up by Maki. Besser back with it. In front, Brock Besser working towards the net. Now was hit by Seth Jones and Andrew Kopp against Glass yet again here. The rematch on the draw, as Glass does kick that back to Jones. And we need a rubber match, but I don't think we're going to get it. And now just 10 seconds remaining. Colton Dock, as he will take that in. Dock towards the net, going to be knocked off the puck. Now Seth Jones in front, as he tried to get Fost. And they will end time here as Sami Maki chucks that down the ice, and the Hartford Whalers back-to-back wins here to start the episode as we take down the top team in the Western Conference. Daniil Tarasov has been very, very good. I can't even find the word for it, just because it's so unexpected, thrusted into a starting role for the first time in his career, and he certainly has answered the call along with Scott Ratzlaff. Definitely have to give him some credit as well, as now I think we're set to get Yaroslav Askarov back. But even still, a tremendous stretch of hockey here, as we are going to sim ahead now about 8 to 10 games, and then we'll really head towards the midway point of this year 5 season. But first, we can no longer elude the inevitable, as it is time to send Scott Ratzlaff back down to the AHL. Still just 22 years old, but he went 5-3 in limited time here to start his career. An .890 save percentage, of .343 goals against, but that doesn't matter because he was getting wins, and hopefully he continues to progress well down there at the AHL, as we are going to just go ahead and send him down, as Yaroslav Askarov is back and ready for action. But speaking of the AHL, here's Javon Marks, our top goalie prospect, also 22, drafted the year after Ratzlaff. And we even see a bunch of guys losing morale because Ratzlaff was sent down. You would think that getting our starter back would boost morale, but not the case, as Javon Marks here, though. 12 wins on the season at 12-5-3, 2 shutouts, a .920 save percentage, and a .220 goals against his first full season after coming over from junior hockey. prior to last season, although he was mainly our third goalie, only 4 games played. But he's not far away from being an NHL goaltender, probably going to back up Askarov maybe as soon as next season. We could have called him up here instead of Yaroslav, but we wanted Marks, who, like I said, is our top prospect maybe in the whole entire organization. We wanted to keep him down there and continue his development at the AHL level. But Yaroslav, we appreciate your service, and you filled in quite nicely here as our Whalers now 14-10, taking on last year's Eastern Conference champion Buffalo Sabres. After one period, we're all tied up. After the second period, it's 2-0 Buffalo. Tage Thompson and Middlestat, as we did leave Tarasov in goal for this one. Yaroslav Askarov going to go tomorrow night against the New Jersey Devils in his first game back. But we do tie it up here late. A goal from Tom Wilson earlier in the period was Gabriel Landeskog on the power play. So we are going to get points out of this one, and we'll simulate the overtime here in real time as we might get a shootout. Now less than 2 minutes to go as we do fall here. Tage Thompson nets his second, and for the first time this season we fall in overtime. I think 2-0 in overtime prior to this, as Tage Thompson, the pair of goals, including the game winner, he was the first star. But like I said, a back-to-back now as we are set to play the New Jersey Devils here in an in-division matchup. We're 5-2 against the Metro Division. Very good results so far. And let's keep it going as Yaroslav Askarov back in net for the first time since early October, or late October maybe, I think it was. So it's been 5 or 6 weeks. As after the first period, no score again, we outshoot them 14-10. And now after the second, we are up 2-1. Leo Carlson beat Schmid early in the period. About 3 minutes later, Mark Scheifele on the power play. And then Reichel, one of the young forwards drafted in this franchise for the Devils. I think Zachariah Reichel was 3rd overall a few years back. So we are going to just simulate the rest of this in real time, being as it's a Metro game, a Metro Division game, as the shot's pretty even. Hartford up 2-1 here at home, more than halfway through this third period. Let's see if we can hang on here down the stretch in Askarov's first game back. Now less than 3 minutes remaining. Less than 1 minute as we do hang on. Another division win, now 6-2 in the Metro Division, which I can't say enough how paramount that is, as Yaroslav Askarov, the first star in his first game back, stopping 33 out of 34 en route to the win. Mark Scheifele 2 points, 1 goal, 1 assist, as we do get back in the win column, as we are now winners in 3 of our last 4, and we now have an identical record here to the Devils. 26 games through the season now, hosting the Calgary Flames, who are towards the bottom of the Western Conference, 2-8 in their last 10. They also have Sidney Crosby, who's now in his second season with the Flames, as we have a few home games here coming up against Western Conference opponents, starting here with Calgary, then followed by Arizona, and then San Jose, as we're looking to make it back-to-back wins here at home, as our Hartford Whalers up 1-0 after the first. Brock Besser beats Igor Shesterkin, I think his 3rd season now there with the Flames, up 2-1 after the second. Now Andrew Mangiapane nets one against his former team, but Nazem Kadri gets them on the board later on. So again, in these close games after 2 periods, we will just sim in real time and let the rest of the drama unfold. The 2-1 lead now make it 3-1 as Jack Rozovic, his 4th goal now in this episode, as he's really emerging as a leader, I think, on this Whalers team, as a second, third line guy there, remaining the center position. Now here in the final couple minutes, as we do hang on for the victory, so make it a 5-game point streak now for our Whalers, as we're really keeping our heads above water here in the Metro Division. Askarov another win, as he's only allowed 2 goals in 2 games, and again the first star, as Leo Carlson gets a bump in morale for ice time. Braden Swartz, one of our top 5 prospects on our Poughkeepsie team down there at the AHL, is hurt, as we're going to sim ahead now, taking on the Arizona Coyotes, 2-4-4 in their last 10. So a bunch of post-regulation matchups, as again we get a trade-off there for Guryanov from his former team nonetheless, as we do decline that. And now here against Arizona, let's hopefully take advantage, or keep taking advantage, of these bottom-tier Western Conference opponents. Just such a different conference over there on the west side. I mean, in the standings, they don't really have much competition. It's really top-heavy, but they have won the past 5 Stanley Cups, everyone so far in this franchise. And we are up 2-0 after 1. Philip Zadina, the lone goal scorer in this period, as he gets 2. And now after 2, we're still leading 3-1. Clayton Keller on the power play, but Brock Besser answered on a power play of our own a few minutes later, and then we'll just simulate the third here, and we win 7-2 as Philip Zadina gets the hat trick. Tom Wilson shorthanded got it going in the period, and also Andrew Kopp had a goal, and Grigory Denisenko added a late one as we are rolling here in this episode. A 6-game point streak now for us. As I said, Zadina with the hat trick, Tom Wilson the second star with 2 points, and Leo Carlsson the third star with 3 assists. So we are just clicking on all cylinders right now. And another injury there at the AHL level. One of our top guys there, probably our top defenseman at that level, Hunter Brzustowicz. And our Whalers now 17-10-1. Definitely our best start to his season so far, as we're set for battle with the San Jose Sharks, still at home, and then we're taking on the Edmonton Oilers and the Los Angeles Kings. So a heavy Western Conference homestand, one that we've started 2-0, outscoring our opponents 10-3. So let's keep the good times rolling here as we'll simulate another one. Probably going to get through like 5 more quick sims and then call it a day in this episode. Get just short of the halfway point on this Year 5 season. So after the first period, we're down 3-0, a rare sight in this episode, as Bystedt netted a couple. Tomas Hertl gets one as well. Still on the Sharks here in this franchise, so maybe Askarov, after 3 straight starts, needed a rest in this game, as he does allow one more there in the second there to Phil Kessel. And who but Gurianov to get 2 here in the second period. He's been a frequent trade rumor for some reason, but we're pretty comfortable with him manning a spot on our 4th line as we come back for the victory. There's no way this team is real right now. Andrew Mangiapane, and then a few minutes later, Sammy Maki gets his 4th of the season, and then Andrew Kopp with 26 seconds. He says, we don't need any overtime. I'll take care of it, as our Hartford Whalers rewrite a 2-goal deficit in the second half of this third period. We win in regulation 5-4, so now make it a 7-game point streak, as Denis Gurianov, the game's first star, and we're now 3-0 against the Western Conference during this homestand, now taking on the Edmonton Oilers, who enter at 16-11-3, one of the top teams in the Western Conference. But we will just take Askarov out for this one, put in Tarasov, as it does kind of get confusing sometimes with the goalies both ending in OV. Tarasov, Askarov, both there out of Russia, as Tarasov has been good as our backup. Of course, was great filling in Askarov's absence, but a big ask for him going up against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. As after one, we do have the lead there. Tom Wilson, I think his 2nd or 3rd goal in this episode, and now after 2, 4-4. Oh my goodness, 7 goals in this period. We were up 4-1 as Adina netted 2. Brock Besser got 1, but then 3 goals by Edmonton in the final 7.5 minutes. 1 by McDavid, 1 by Bouchard, and 1 by Draisaitl. So we will sim this third period in real time at the XL Center. 4-4. Edmonton exploded there at the end of the second period. Daniil Tarasov still in net as Gabriel Landeskog puts Hartford back on top, trying to extend this winning streak, this point streak, as Mark Scheifele going to help the cause. I think his 9th goal now of the season, our leader in points. And now less than 3 minutes in this game. What a wacky one here for the Whalers as we do come out with the win. These games have just been unreal so far. I am just astounded at the results we've been getting. 2 goals for Zadina, an assist, also 4 hits, as he has been phenomenal here to start this Year 5 season. And we are now 19-10-1, currently 4th in the Metro Division, as we're now set to host the Los Angeles Kings. And we are just going to keep rolling with the same lines that we've had. We debuted a new set of lines here, mostly just shifting the 1st and 2nd, and it has gone well, I'd say, over the course of this episode, now hosting the Los Angeles Kings, as we're up 1-0 after the first. Another goal here by Denis Gurianov, as he beats Jeremy Swayman at about the halfway point. And now after 2, Los Angeles does take the lead with 2 late period goals, both in the final 3 minutes. Pierre-Luc Dubois and then Johnson, as we will do another real-time sim here in the third. Let's see if we can steal another game here on the power play. Nothing doing as the Kings kill it off. And now they're on the power play as we do answer with a kill of our own. Now here into the final 10 minutes as we do tie it up, Jack Rozovic. And then Anderson Dolan answers right back just 17 seconds later as the Kings seize control again now in the final 5 minutes. And they get some insurance and then even more insurance as Fajimo and then Kempe as the Kings put an end to our good times here. They spoil our, I think it went to a 7 or 8 game point streak as we now do fall in regulation, as we're going to visit now the Washington Capitals getting back to metropolitan play. Another trade offer here, Gurianov, as the Senators have now offered us a couple, even throwing in a 2 in that one. I don't think we want to really entertain that at this point. But what we do want to entertain at this point is a win here on the road against the Capitals, as they're in a new era post Alexander Ovechkin, as he retired this past offseason. So we lost to them 5-1 back in the first game, but they're actually now at the bottom of the Eastern Conference, the second worst team right now in the league, as we are leading 2-1 after one. Again, Jack Roslovic finds the back of the net, followed by Cole Sillinger, and then Pius Suter gets a late one as the Capitals are on the board. So 2-1 heading into the second, and it's still 2-1 after the second. So again, a real-time simulation here as they do tie it up on the power play. Evgeny Kuznetsov, Hartford now on the power play, nothing doing as the Capitals do get the kill. And we probably will tune into this one if we do get some overtime. Now into the final 8 minutes. Still 2-2 here from Washington. Final 3 minutes now, as it looks like we are set for overtime. And as I said, we are going to step into this one, our last look at this team in this episode, as we are going to be on the road for the first time. It's been quite a while, I think, in this season since we've had a look in on the road. It just happened to be a lot of home games, but now here at Washington, trying to win this one in overtime and trying to get our first win against the Capitals here, 6-2 against the Metro Division, as we have Mark Scheifele on the draw, and he does win that back for Montour. Montour into the zone now on the initial rush. Scheifele try to get that back for Landeskog, as that did go out of the zone now for Montour. 2-on-1, 2-on-2 now. I'm sorry, 2-on-0 as Mark Scheifele finds the back of the net. And we promptly win this one in overtime. It didn't take long as Washington was not even able to make it to the other end of the ice. Mark Scheifele, our leader in points, and we get the quick win here, our first win against the Capitals, as we now advance to 7-2 in the Metro Division. That is just astounding right now, as spirits are high for our Whalers, and we have one more game in this episode we're going to get through, as we're set to simulate against the Carolina Hurricanes, as Mark Scheifele there beats the blocker side of Philip Gustafsson. Going back to the first game, he had 40 saves against us in that game, but not enough this time, as Mark Scheifele, the game winner. Our Whalers, our 20th win already now on this season. We have now catapulted into the third spot now in the Metro, as we're set here to host the Carolina Hurricanes. They are actually tied with us, but we have the edge as we have 20 wins. They have 19. And let's see if we can close this episode on another high note after winning that game in overtime. What a performance so far in this episode. After one, it's tied up 2-2, goals from Grigory Denisenko and Philip Zadina, also former Whaler Victor Olofsson, a late period goal. The second time in as many games that Askarov has surrendered a goal there in the final minute of the first period. Now after 2, no score. And again, a tie game here in the third period. An early goal by Daniil Chaika, his first of the season. What a time for that, as he beats Salminen, and then Mark Scheifele gets another one. And then Grigory Denisenko not even a minute later. 3 straight goals here to start the third period, and we pour it on against the Hurricanes as we're trying to keep ascending up the Metro Division, as we're set to advance to 8-2 now in the Metro, and that is just unreal. Almost half our wins on this season have been against our division. The top 3 stars, Mark Scheifele, 4 points in this game. Askarov, the third star, with 31 saves. And Denisenko, since being moved up to the third line, has scored a bunch of goals, it seems, as our Whalers are going to end this episode at 21-11-1, finishing this episode at 9-1-1. We'll take a look at the standings here, as this is where I'm going to leave you, folks. Thank you so much for watching. It was a very fun episode, only 1 regulation loss throughout, and we'll certainly take that result every single time. The Islanders still atop the Metro, even though we did beat them twice already. The Rangers at 44 points, and we're just 1 behind them at 43, as we sit at 21-11-1. Going to take on the Philadelphia Flyers in the next episode as we try to get some more separation from them in this tightly contested division. The Blue Jackets and Devils kind of falling out of favor, and the Penguins and Capitals probably not in it this season, so really just a 7-team race for 5 playoff spots, as we typically do get the wild cards. We'll come over to the Atlantic real quick, as they're being led by Florida, Buffalo, Ottawa, as that third spot might be up for grabs as the season goes on. But as always, everybody, thank you so much for watching another very fun episode in this Hartford Whalers expansion franchise as we try to get back to the postseason. And let's carry on this hot streak of hockey into the next episode, as we're going to take on the Philadelphia Flyers. And as I said, try to get some more separation in what's a tightly contested Metro Division. So tune back and let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, everybody, it's been real, and be well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.